Yo, Kinose this. Hope everyone's doing well. Genki shitakai. About that time again. Seems like the way I planned the game's schedule ended up consolidating all of my channel's activity towards the end of each month. And like last month, since the Abyssal is being released at the start of my work week, I won't be able to post my clears until the weekend, so bear with me if that's what you're waiting for. Now, some of you may be wondering why I've already started a match before even breaking down my teams, and that's because this was a previously recorded clip, and I'm actually doing a second take right now because I jumped into a match without realizing that one of my units, Thief Layla, or Risk and Reward Layla, didn't have the right special equipped. Here she was running Moonbow instead of Blazing Thunder, and upon realization at the time, I was stunned and stopped my recording before I decided to surrender and start fresh, just because I'm nitpicky like that and I wanted all of my teams to be running in perfect order. So, free win for that guy. I hope I made their day a little bit better. And last Chaos season was the first season in which I played Chaos in Vault of Heaven, let alone finishing in Tier 39 in any season whatsoever, since the first Chaos season I started outside of the Vault and had dropped out the season prior due to my lack of Mythics and Merges. So it was definitely more of a learning experience for me as I was testing the waters, both in terms of video recording, editing, as well as team building. And last time I gave you all the uncut recording of my matches, which was more of a realistic example of how long I actually take to clear maps. But I can tell that most of you are more receptive to shorter videos, so I'll trim my clears where possible and try to upload them daily instead of in blocks for the duration of Chaos seasons. And from my previous Tier 39 experience and subsequent updates to the game, I put in time for research and retooled my offense, mainly with respect to the Pathfinder cap line, in which I faced a rendition of in my second to last match from the previous season. And I felt that instead of trying to fall back on tanking or vantage strats as an initial response to pressure from such defense teams, I should instead further refine my Gale Force, which is where I made the bulk of my adjustments. And this is a playstyle preference on my part in trying to be more assertive rather than just guzzling blue. And one of the first changes I made was in my offense structure placement. I kept the same number of structures. I just moved one of the structures over because I needed to have one of the lanes in the center to smite from while accounting for Spring Breeze and Jotunheimer, which are two of the more prominent defense maps. And I also wanted to have one of either lanes 2 or 5 open so that I could approach Jotunheimer from the side. The two structures that I run are the safety fence and the bonus structure. And next up, we have my offense teams. First up, we have Florina Force, and one of the major changes that I made was to Limstella's kit. I made them more offensively oriented, because as you can see on the screen right now, even with max investment, summoner support, and double HP, Limstella can no longer safely ignore hex traps, which has been recently upgradable to 65 HP. Unfortunate as that is, and it really felt like a kick in the nuts when I found out, just because, you know, I had already invested florets into Limstella and Hector by this point with the intention of ignoring hex traps, basically, with summoner support. But, you know, it is what it is. I can't change the past, and, you know, I've made the decision to commit to my theme team, so you live by a lib, you die by a lib. And I made the necessary adjustments, and instead of having Limstella be the trap tester, the designated trap tester on this team, I instead swapped that role over to the bonus Gale Forcer, which I'll be rotating from now on based on the book bonus week. This week we have Summer Fiora, who's got a Kanto Gale Force build to make it easier to test traps and get out of there. She is summoner supported and she is a Forma unit, so I did manage to get my hands on some premium skills when she was in the Hall of Forms, specifically Pegasus Flight and Odd Tempest. So I also gave her the Forward Cane from the most recent Tempest Trial unit, Thief Rickard. So she can definitely put in some work there. She, like the subsequent bonus Gale Forcers that I have planned, will reach at or above 66 HP with summoner support, so they'll be the ones to consistently help me get rid of traps there. And then next we have Fiora's sister, Florina. Running Life and Death now this week because the rest of her allies can sit at 62 attack. So with 62 attack, Florina can take advantage of Lynn's Grand Scratcher and run a higher cooldown special. And she is now running Joint Drive Attack instead of her inherent Joint Drive Speed, just so that this team does more damage overall and aid in Heavy Blade stat checks for my bonus Gale Forcer. And she's also running Aerobatics instead of Hardy Bearing to provide me with more mobility so that I can navigate certain maps, which you may see examples of later. Then next up, Bridlin's basically being run the same way. She's running Windfire Balm to cover Groomboy's absence, to provide attack and speed buffs to her allies. Legendary Hector's basically being run the same way. And next up we have my Mario Kart team, which I've relegated to tanking and Vantage strats. So I'm basically having Elamine and Legendary Eliwood serve as the backbones for this team, providing false start, damage reduction, and bonus doubler. And their allies will be rotating bonus units basically. So I have Book 3 units from Olib here, all at 56 attack, and their builds should be relatively self-explanatory with the exception of Winter Cecilia, but you don't really see disarm trap armor every day, but I feel like this could work out fairly well, considering that she does reach above 65 HP with bonus stats. So in tandem with Pulse Smoke, she can help Idun tank, well, do some far save tanking really. And it wasn't really that expensive to acquire because she is also a Forma unit, so I did get some of this stuff beforehand. And some honorable mentions for this team, which I had considered, was Kidna, Brunya, and Gren, and it's basically going to be run like this, except with bonus units for subsequent weeks. And next we have my AoE Benders team, taking inspiration from Avatar, basically being run the same way as last week, with the exception of Thief Layla being the bonus unit this week. She's not from Book 3, but she is bonus. And during Book 3 bonus weeks, I would normally opt to run Lu instead. So I rectified my mistake from earlier, and I'm having her running Blazing Thunder now instead of Moonbow. So there's that. And last but not least, we have Vaulter Force. I'm actually running 2 variations of Vaulter Force here, because last Chaos season I had grossly underestimated how much mythic stats and an extra offense unit, extra offense Kanto unit in Regan really swung the match in my favor. So taking that into account and my Pathfinder Cavline match from last week, I decided to also implement a 2 variation Vulture Force setup in my offense teams, since last week I really just copy-pasted one variation and just ran with it instead. Because Vulture Force is a bit of a delicate piece of machinery upon startup, so I'm just trying to account for a majority of situations here, including how many hits Vulture needs to get off in order to trigger his Gale Force, whether it's 1 with Quicken Pulse or 2 with a attack and or speed Sacred Seal. I also tweaked his stats a bit to plus speed and minus HP to account for the quirks of, how should I say, Chaos Season, since he doesn't receive mythic stats anymore, and he needs as much attack and speed as he can get to win a greater number of matchups. And although giving him Kanto wasn't exactly my initial plan, I've been basically repeating this over and over, he does need as much speed as possible, so I ended up giving him the Speed Defense Near Trace from the Pirate Nasala Combat Manual, and along that same vein of reasoning is why I gave him Attack Speed Push and Speed Defense Rain. With Attack Speed Push at 44 HP, he can still lose 50% HP when he's not a bonus, and when he is a bonus, I will opt to run Fury 4 again instead. And some differences between these variations are that I run a different positional assists in Smite and Repo, or Double Smite, or support units with different roles. I have Reeve running on both teams to provide infantry pulse support and debuffs, whereas I have Merlinus with Repo here running Florid Knife and Disarm Trap to help navigate certain maps where there might be traps hugging the offense team as opposed to the defense team. And Merlinus is actually quite deceptively useful as a Kanto Disarm Trapper, in my opinion, because he's basically New Year's Fafnir and Yuri, except instead of being offensively oriented, he has way more natural HP, and thus doesn't require as much investment in order to also be able to disarm, quote-unquote, hex traps. So I feel like he's pretty useful there. I'm also opting to rotate infantry Gale Force bonus units per season. So this week is Book 3, so I'm running Rutger, though Valoria is also a Book 3 unit, so I'm using her there as well. I'm just opting to use Rutger because I really don't have much of an opportunity elsewhere to build and run Rutger, so it's mostly for my self-satisfaction. And I am also opting to run a different unit in Brave Marth this season because he is one of the best infantry swords in the game. And so he is being run here to account for matchups where the enemy defense might have heavily invested like both skills and merges into their units, so I just need to deal as much damage as possible, basically. And I'm running Naga as a Bright Shrine Soaker here with Life and Death 4, just so that I can account for scenarios where I don't want my Gale Forcers to eat any debuffs and hinder their ability to clear the map. So I'm just basically running 2 variants of Gale Force or Vulture Force here to account for as many scenarios as possible and give my Vulture as many winning matchups as possible, basically. I ended up taking out my Lindis to Windus team for one of these variants, just because, well, to put it simply and harshly, I don't feel like I would be able to use Lin Emblem in a match where I would consider it, well, challenging, basically. So I also didn't want to have to run Lin Emblem and run the risk of potentially revealing how I run my defense setup to anyone who may potentially rematch me, because I do run Lin Emblem on defense. So I believe I've rambled on long enough. I did try to get through these and as quickly as possible and as succinctly as possible. I didn't delve into as much detail about the change as I could have, but I digress. So let's just go ahead and jump into the match. So without further ado, let's get into today's match. Okay, so we're up against Aaron Nanner. Alright. We have a Farsafe tank in Ascending Doom. Thor, Asker, Gren. Oh, that's a Forma Gren. And Azura. So this doesn't apply on my initiation. Could I possibly Gale Force this? Could wait for Lin's even pulse tie on you. Stella's got 68. And that deals... $29 damage. You get +5, +9 in combat. Inflict -4. Minus Stella inflicts -8 on you. Alright.
I'm ending this!
So, if you're here, probably something like that.
Which one's mine?
Leave it to me. Try my best.
Guess we can get rid of this first.
Sure. I can do this.
Jeez. I guess who would I smite onto this tile? Because that's the fake one now, so I think it's okay if I smited Florina up there. Because she wants to be here anyway. Oh, okay, no, never mind. I can't, shit, I didn't think about... breaking this structure just yet, because now Lynn's going to be threatened if I break this panic manor. So I'm gonna have to approach this a different way. Maybe I can have Florina park onto the Golden Deer flag tile after I break this tactics room, which seems easy enough to do, right? And then I return Florina this way. No, that doesn't work. Florina would have to be returned over here. I wouldn't make use of New Height Bow, but at the very least, I still get the same amount of damage output, and I avoid the Panic Manor. So I probably have to break all the structures over here instead. Either that, or I wait till turn 3 for my Fiora to get Odd Tempest again? Or is that actually necessary? With that Odd Tempest, she can canto 3 spaces. I guess the following turn. She could park here or something. Well, I have to wait for Even Pulse Tie to do its thing anyway, so...
A mission?
Yeah.
Can do.
Yeah, I guess I'll just have her move back for now.
All right.
So, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Here we go.
Got it.
As you will.
I must focus.
Over there, right? What?
We'll go ahead and maneuver
Sure.
these guys around again. Now, how badly do I need Odd Tempest for this? Florian parts here, you're gone. Take out a Gren, take out not. No, they're literally right next to each other, so I guess I don't.
Try my best.
Okay.
All right.
Prevent movement within through 2 spaces unit. I mean, that's within 2 spaces, so it should be fine now.
Try my best.
Alright, well.
Leave it to me.
Alright, there we go. Or I can do that. Whichever. Okay, here goes something.
I can do this.
Oh, okay, I actually did more than I expected. Over there.
Let's get moving.
Let's take out this Gren.
Got it.
Take out this knot.
A mission?
Thor.
Can do.
Let's park there for now.
Sure.
I must focus.
Which one's mine?
Alright, that's that. Well, seeing as how I took extra time for the first video of each season, really, to break down my offense teams, I think I will call it at that for this match. And I'll see you in the next video. Alright, take care.